Good evening, PetrolHeads. No racing today, although we have a little bit of a practice session for an up-and-coming race, hopefully. This is an M1 Procar Cup race at Hockenheim. 12 cars on the grid, 6 lap times at the minute, on the leaderboards at the minute, so let's have a look at the best lap so far. Set by Tobias Thierolf from Germany, who sets a best lap of 1 minute 51.0. That's the benchmark lap time, that's the best one we have seen so far. 2 seconds off, 1:53, is Ralph Bart in second in his yellow Procar. And then in third is Dan Holm Anderson is his full name. I'm going to call him Anderson from now on. He's in third. Photosystic is fourth, 3 seconds back with 1:54. Ricardo Costa is in fifth, and Uwe Haas is in sixth. "15 minutes and a half left to go in practice, and hopefully we'll move on to qualifying very soon. Now these Pro cars are a pretty different kettle of fish of car to drive, in my opinion. Many of these people find it fun, while others, such as myself, don't find it quite as easy, unfortunately. I think it's a nice sound, I think it's a nice body, but it just handle like a truck, and they don't get the power down very well. There's probably something I can tune the setup out of it, but not for me. I prefer the FRX. So I got a bunch of Tugas Racing boys over here, racing with a bunch of PetrolHead SimRacing boys as well. They're all in the VC at Tugas right now, so if you want to pop in and say hello, you can. 14 minutes left to go. You can even join us as well, actually, if you've got race room, because this is a free content has been extended, so you can join our server as long as you have the reputation to do so. We have set the minimum requisite in the server, so if you'd like to join us, then as long as you meet the prerequisite of safety racing and reputation, go on ahead, join us. It appears that Tobias Thierolf has few and far between. Tobias Thierolf's competitors are few and far between. Nobody seems to be able to challenge him with his 151 dead. He seems to be the man who has the car totally mastered. We have 6 times on the board at the minute, but we have 13 drivers competing now in practice now. Just getting a feel for the car, a feel for the track. We have a lot of familiar names here in this practice session. We've got Inspired Yorkshire names, Tugas names, and PHSR names, also along with a few randos as well. So consider this like a friendly match. No, not really any stakes here, it's just some evening fun. We've got some Tugas Racing guys, such as Tobias Thierolf. I believe Ralph Bart is part of Tugas. Ricardo Costa, and Henrik Andreasen, they're all Tugas. Then from PetrolHead SimRacing, we've got Fotis Isoglu, Andrew Darnell, and I believe that's everyone I remember from PHSR anyway. I would have been PHSR if I joined, but I hate the Procar, so here I am. And then in Spa Yorkshire, I see Ivan Lukic, or saw Ivan Lukic before he left. I don't think he likes his car either. It's finally someone who agrees with me. Well, that's Fotis Isoglu going second fastest. He's only 1.5 seconds off of Tobias Tierolf's 1:51. To be precise, Fotis is set at 1:52.5. Still room for improvement, but he's getting pretty close to Tobias Tierolf's theoretical pace. Currently P6 out of 11, or the slowest out of everyone that has set lap times in the minute, is Haas. He is 6.5 seconds off Tobias Tierolf's pace, but he's on a green lap now, 3 seconds off. He seems to be able to encourage an improvement in this lap time. And that was a Procar spinning out in the front stretch. Not quite sure who. And another yellow Procar, Udo Kruger, in the number 81, beginning his first hot lap of the day. Lovely, at least and set the 7th lap time on the board. Henrik Andreasen, another driver from Tugas who hasn't set a lap time yet, seems to be on the purple sector. He might be able to step up to Tobias's 1:51. See how he gets on in the final sector. He's getting a little bit sideways there, such is the way of the Procar. That's fast in these cars. Getting that corner exit. And that's the brand new fastest lap. It's 1:50.98. Much faster than Tobias Tierolf's time, but it's going to be getting him on the ropes, or has it? He's gone 4/10 faster. He's on a purple sector, Tobias. In sector 1, he's going to be continuing that lap into sector 2. He's been dethroned from pole for the minute, but something tells me we haven't seen the last of Tobias Tierolf just yet. He's half a second quicker in the second sector than he is in than Henrik Andreasen. Starting to really put that lap together. 588 car for Tugas Racing. Going around that final bend, didn't quite get as sideways as Henrik Andreasen did, but let's see how Tobias Tierolf fares. He beats that by 0.5 of a second, half a second. New benchmark lap time is 1:50.474. Good show. Maybe we'll see an answer out of Henrik Andreasen very shortly in these next 7 minutes. Not much to go off of right now with 6.5 minutes to go. Tobias Tyrolf and Henrik Andreasen have been jockeying for pole position as of late. But it looks like Tobias Tyrolf might have the last lap going into the end of practice. Did I say pole position? Oh, sorry, this is a practice session. We'll be heading to qualifying next. This is just a theoretical pace out of these competitors. Andy Darnell sent his first hard lap and goes 6th fastest, 2.97 seconds off of the leader. Just listen to that engine out of the Procar. 5-cylinder engine. The ones in R3 don't rev just as high as they did in real life, but still sounds amazing. But apart from that, the devs absolutely nailed the sound of this car. If it handled better, this would have been one of my favourite cars, because of the sound alone. So for now, the fastest non-Tukas racing driver here is Totas Isoglu in P4 at the minute, 2 seconds off the lead, with a 1 minute 52.5. Him and Ralph Bars are jockeying for the 3rd place and the 2nd row at the minute. If this was qualifying, I need to get myself out of that mindset. A real driver's car, this. Andy Darnell seems to be going on a faster lap. He sets a faster lap. He goes quicker than Ricardo Costa and moves up to P5. He seems to be having another go at this. Henrik Andreasen is sending a personal best. He might be having a go with Tobias Tyrolf here. And Henrik Andreasen goes 3/10 quicker in the 2nd sector. He might be able to bring something to the table in terms of an answer to Tobias Tyrolf's 150.47. He just needs to keep it tidy now. Using all the carb he can get. And it's would have been pole position if this was qualifying. We need to get out of that mindset. But that's the fastest lap of the session for Henrik Andreasen. He's brought an answer to Tobias Tyrolf's monster time. Tobias did have the fastest first sector, but it seems that he's 3/10, almost 4, slower in the 2nd sector. But this is Tukas Racing, we're talking about the Raelians. They might be able to bring some unnatural talent, supernatural talent from another planet these guys have. Tobias knows where he needs to improve, and he's going to, by God, will he drive. Henrik seems to be going 4/10 faster in the 1st sector. He's just getting warmed up. Going into the 2nd sector, he's 3/10 faster than his personal best. He's going to nail. He's going to start going into the 149s himself. if he keeps it together, goes slightly wide and almost spins, but he catches the slide. But can't be fast. Or can it? Only time will tell. Hooking his left wheel, I believe his left wheel, on the inside of that curb earlier, maximising the amount of track he's using, and he goes 3/10 behind his previous best. He was going up for something great back there, and we'll see it out of him during qualifying. But for now, looks like we've got a very good front row lockout of two Gus Racing drivers, and it seems to be. Well, this is certainly making out to be an entertaining race for the win, as well as some podium positions. The last podium position between three different drivers, it looks like. Ralph Bart versus Tosis, Zissiglu versus Andy Darnell. And if anyone trips each other up, Ricardo Costa and P6 would be able to capitalize on those mistakes. And definitely some carnage to be had in the midfield. So now we're going into qualifying now, with 12 drivers in the lobby so far. Out of used to be 13, but Luke left as soon as he figured out that he hated the Procar. 588 of Tobias Tirolf out first. Out very quickly with Zissiglu right now during 10 minutes of qualifying starting now. They need to get their outlaps done as quick as they can. There's Henrik Andreasen waiting for a little bit of traffic to leave. This ought to be interesting, because in all our time having a Tugas racing driver in our events, well, this isn't an event, this is a practice session, but at any time, at any point during our streams, this is the closest that this is the closest thing to a challenge that a Tugas racing driver has had on a stream with anyone. Granted, it's another Tugas racing driver, but still, it shouldn't be just a runaway win for Tugas now for the win. I mean, either way, it's going to be a win for Tugas, but at least it's not going to be defined. You're going to have to be picking between two drivers now of equal talent, as predicted from practice. Eight minutes to go, and we're starting to see cars go through the third sector to start their first flying laps. Here comes Henrik, taking a tight line and then goes wide, but just enough to stay in the track limits. Riding the curb a bit violently goes Tobias Tirolf. He's the leading car, so he's going to be setting the fastest lap. Whether that will last is entirely up to his pace. But since he's the first to cross the line, he's going to be the first time on the board and technically fastest. So that's why his lap times are going to be appearing purple for a second. We're already at 6 minutes and a half to go, and we still haven't had any times on the board. That's Tobias Tyrolf off. And that's one flying lap ruined. You can't have no room for error here. Because of the very little time you have to set these lap times, you have to make every lap count. Photo says the first lap time of the day with a benchmark of a 154.1, but there's Andy Darnell setting a new fastest time with a 152.6, and there's Henrik Andreasen setting a faster time of 1 minute 50.3. Straight to it, Henrik Andreasen, leaving behind none of the momentum he broke in during practice. Tobias Tyrolf still hasn't got a time on the board. He messed up in the third sector. He's going to have to try again. These cars are super loud and super gorgeous to listen to. 5-cylinder magic. And then there's Ralph Bart in P4, 16.5 seconds off the pace. That's certainly not his best lap time. Just getting around and trying to survive, I believe. We've yet to see a proper push lap out of him. Tobias Tyrolf looks like he's ready to strike back finally with 3.5 minutes to go. He's got purple in sector 1. He just needs to make it to the end of the lap, and he's gotten pole position from Henrik Andreasen. This is going to be many drivers' final lap time, or second last if you're in the third sector. There's not much time left to set lap times with 2.5 minutes to go, essentially. Tobias Tyrolf seems to be purple in sector 2. He's coming to the end of the lap now. It seems like I might be able to snag pole position from Henrik Andreasen, something we haven't seen for a very long time, or ever. I believe he's gotten pole in every race he's ever attended. And there it is, by just over half a tenth. He goes faster than Henrik Andreasen. Those finishing up their laps now will have time to set one more lap time. And Henrik is going to be fighting back almost immediately. He's purple in sector 2 by 2.5 tenths. Getting swirly at the end there. And he could not improve, unfortunately. Hey Ethan, I'm gonna put up a stream. I'm gonna share my screen if you want to watch this. They're doing a practice session over in the pro cars in the Hockenheim. I hit the car, so I'm just commentating the practice session. You can join either on the car or, although you have to be quick because the session's about to end, but alternatively you can watch my Discord stream. So 1 minute left to go to qualify. This is going to be many people's final lap here today in Hockenheim for the practice race. We've yet to confirm a dedicated pro car race, but it seems to be relatively popular in our community, so it might happen. So fingers crossed. You might hear these 5-cylinder engines singing once again. But maybe to a little bit more higher stakes next time. With 30 seconds left, there is no more time left to start any new laps. Fotis Isoglu looks like he's going to try and set another lap time to take third. Doesn't go quicker. He remains fourth. So Tobias Tyrrell remains on pole position, breaking into the 149.7s. Henrik Andreasen is in second place, around 5-6 tenths back. Andy Darnell's in third. Fotis Isoglu is in P4. And Cannonball is in fifth. Ricardo Costa is sixth. Ralph Barsch couldn't set a proper lap time, so we'll see him at the back of the grid in seventh, at 10th position. And with that, a 5-minute warm-up. Whoops. I need to set up my screen properly this time. There. That should be better, Ethan. Sorry, Ethan, I just had to reset my stream. I realized I was just filming my whole screen. So anyway, 4 minutes of warm-up, not much to talk about. I'll see you in 4 minutes. Never before on stream, actually, has Henrik Andreasen ever been out-qualified. But it's happened today, but from Tobias Tyrrell, what a performance. By almost 6 tenths. Three minutes to go before the race. So people are just getting their final practice laps in, maybe practicing their start. It's a standing start, I believe. So if you're starting near the back, you need to get all the positions you can get from getting a good start. T-minus 2 minutes. And just be careful, Ethan, because the stream can actually hear those soundboards, I think. 50 seconds to go. And then we're going racing at Hockenheim. The end of warm-up is imminent, and we will be going racing in Hockenheim very shortly. Before that, if you're watching on YouTube, please give the stream a like and maybe subscribe if you want to watch even more of us. Maybe catch the professional event. This is just a practice session, but this is still guaranteed to be good racing here tonight. And the M1 Procar, such a great form. Such a nice bodywork, such a great engine noise, good sound. And they're all forming up on the grid. We'll see lights on the grid very shortly. Any second now, everyone will be lined up on the grid. Ten minutes on the clock. 5 lights ahead of the drivers, and then it's gonna be 16 drivers, 10 minutes on the clock, lights out. Carnage in the midfield, it's a tsunami of midfield carnage there. Tobias Thierolf and Andy Darnell are jockeying for position. It's first position. Andy Darnell gets out ahead. Tobias Thierolf in second. Henrik Andreasen slips into third. And they're going hurtling towards turn 3. Still a bunch of car stationary going at the start there. Captain Bash is most affected. Andy Darnell is 3/10 off of Tobias Thierolf. He managed to get there from an excellent start. Henrik Andreasen isn't far off the two of them. And Doc Cannonball in fourth is going to be ready to capitalize off of any mistakes. And then that's Toza Sissiglu off the inside. That's a very big contact there. Not ideal on these cars. If you lose suspension, you lose everything. Doc Cannonball managed to defend P4 from Toza Sissiglu, but it looks like he's hungry for that second row finish. Henrik Andreasen is in second at the minute, chasing down Andy Darnell. They're side by side. Henrik Andreasen's on the inside at the third sector. He goes through, taking the lead at the race. And Tobias Thierolf is going to be following him around the outside. If he's not careful, he's going to take the position. Sweeping left-hander, banked corner there. They're still side by side, and it looks like that Andy Darnell is going to be safe for now, going to the final bends of the lap. And he seems to get the better exit speed there. He's safe for now. He's going to be getting that slipstream off of Henrik Andreasen up in front. And alright, we have Tobias Thierolf moving down the inside of Andy Darnell. He goes through to take second place. He's going to be hunting down Henrik Andreasen now. Rothbart has been fighting up from the back of the grid, effectively. Up into P6 at the minute. He's gained 4 positions since his grid start. Ralph Barr on the inside for P6. Moves up to P5. Fotis Isoglu's lost 2 positions since his grid start. And there's Doc Cannonball patiently following Andy. If he makes a mistake, that's an easy podium finish for Doc Cannonball, but he's not going to be attacking Andy anytime soon. Just needs to hang around and capitalise off a mistake. This is a very tough car to drive for many, as many of the back markers have DNF'd. We have 4 DNFs right now, including Ricardo Costa, Ire Valdo, Tito Don Lego, and Pablo Franco. Fotis has dropped back a lot of places right now in P6. He's hoping to catch Ralph Barsh, but it might not be to any avail. But we'll see in due time with 6 minutes to go. We saw how close they were in qualifying, Henrik Andreasen and Tobias Teroff, but it seems like a gap is starting to form between the 2 drivers, as Henrik seems to be the most consistent out of the 2. Andy Darnell remains in 3rd position and Doc Cannonball 4th. Ralph Barsh is in 5th position. Fotis Isoglu 6th. We're starting to see gaps over a second to each car form. That's a very big braking failure for Miris, very random name. Back in P10, he's lost a position there to Udo Kruger in P9. Moving up towards the front now, we're looking at Doc Cannonball. He's been sticking with Andy all race. He's being very patient. This will be a good points finish if this were for a championship. I'd be content with the P4 myself. Especially with these cars, these are very hard to drive. Well, hard to drive quickly anyway. Ralph Barsh looks to be on the back of Doc Cannonball. They're just over 6/10 separate them. Ralph Barsh seems to be having the pace on him. Diogo Quintal passes Udo Kruger for P10. Starting to see some very big gaps form. Doc Cannonball desperately trying to dive the inside to no avail because there was no one to dive the inside of anyone. Nowhere to dive, and he's just lost time to the car in front and gained time to the car at the back. And that's Fotis Isoglu again. He's in P8 and he's made a mistake. Three minutes left to go and people are starting to cook inside their helmets as mistakes start to creep in. Diogo Quintal making a move on the outside, but just won't work. He's going to have to wait a little bit. He's on the superior racing line. That's better exit speed for you. With a bash, he goes into P9. Diogo Quintal, everyone. Passes Miris for P9. Excellent recovery for the Portuguese driver. Now we've got Ralph Barsh in P4. Something happened to Andy Darnell actually. He's back in P5. This is what Doc Cannonball was waiting for. He waited for Andy Darnell to make a mistake, but now that's happened, he has to defend from Ralph Bart if he wants to keep this podium chance alive. We got a spinner, it's a one car, number 1 livery. Seems to be Captain Bash at the back. Totally stationary. There's Ralph Bart and Doc Cannonball giving each other a run down the longest straight of the track, going into the hairpin. Doc goes slightly wide, Ralph is on the inside. But Doc gets the better exit speed and keeps 3rd place for now. Ralph Bart's gonna stay there until he passes. He wants that podium position as much as we do. He's come up 6 positions since he started so far. He wants to make it a 7th and a trophy. Haas is rivaling the 111 car of Andy Darnell. He's possibly had damage. He's back in P7 now. He was once in the 3rd podium position, but now Uwe Haas overtook for P6. And that is a spin for Fotis Isoglu. Clearly not the driver's best today. I'm sorry if I don't sound as joyous as usual because I'm coming down with a bit of a sickness. So anyway, Ralph Bart here. Just about 7/10 off of Doc Cannonball. This will be a big opportunity to slipstream each other down the straight. Ralph is trying and trying, but on the last lap he just can't seem to find a way past Doc Cannonball in 3rd. He's come so far, but this seems to be the end for him. And there's Captain Bash on the side of the track. 2 minutes, 2 whole minutes off the leader's pace. Like 2 minutes and worth of track time behind leader. That's one very smashed up car. Just carefully nursing it home. Well, this was a very dominant showing of speed for Henrik Andreasen because he wins in Hockenheim for the BMW Procar Practice session, ahead of Tobias Tierolf. Ralph Bart just couldn't get past Doc Cannonball in time to make that recovery drive into the podium. But it's still a very good finish for P4. Doc Cannonball manages to capitalise off of other people's mistakes and keep it consistent himself, which was the difference between him and Andy Darnell today, who dropped back to 8th. We can see various drivers doing burnouts in the front stretch. Well, there you have it for you. Henrik Andreasen won the race and scored the fastest lap of the session. How about that? He finished the race 10.5 seconds ahead of Tobias Tierolf. Henrik seemed to be the faster, more consistent driver here today. Well, unless there's a round 2 I'm not aware of, that should be the end of today's practice session. well, that does appear to be everything. So thank you guys for watching. If you ever tuned in, that wasn't. That's just a small glimpse of what we can have to come. We might be planning a small bit of a. Well, we'll be doing a one-off race, I think, at Hockenheim with the M1 Pro Car very soon. So if you want to practice for that and join us, feel free. If you want to hit the bell and subscribe and be ready for that, you can. No one's forcing it. And I suppose that's it for today's stream. This wasn't really scripted at all. This wasn't really planned for in advance. I just decided to stream. And what can you do? Rather do this than drive the Pro Car. It's a terrible car. I hate driving it, but some people like it. It's very subjective. Well, anyway, that's all I got, and I'll see you next time.